There's been some news over the last couple days that Michael Keaton may return to DC, or rather to the DC Entertainment Universe, to don the mask of Batman once again. Quite a bit older. Does this make sense? Probably. Let's talk about what it means. Hey everybody, this is Perch. One of the stories that's come out here over the last few days is that there are at least talks to bring Michael Keaton in to be in the Flash movie in 2 years. So in 2022, there's going to be a Flash movie. In theory, it will it'll be the current Flash, the one we saw from the Justice League, and that it's going to be a Flashpoint inspired storyline, that it's going to really take on this idea of kind of this alternate universe and different characters and everything else. And the talk is that we'll bring Michael Keaton in to kind of sew up the different versions of the DC universe. It's interesting. Well, two things. First, a little aside, a bunch of news agencies that have come about are they're reporting this will be the first appearance of a multiverse in movies, which is okay. You could do that, except we did have Crisis of Infinite Earths. All right, maybe that was for TV. We also had Into the Spider-Verse, which was all about the multiverse. So and then I think if this comes out in 2022, then that's going to be later than Doctor Strange 2, depending on where coronavirus ultimately puts the movie, but that movie is called, the Multiverse of Madness. So I'm presuming there's some multiverse in there. Who knows? There may just be a red herring. But anyway, that aside, I think this is an interesting approach. So this is. It's smart. Look, I think with Hollywood, you've got all these different takes on characters. DC alone, it's unclear if all these things really live in the same universe. Even things like Suicide Squad, in theory, it lives. You have a Jared Leto Joker, but then we also have the Jack Nicholson Joker, and we have the Joaquin Phoenix Joker. So if you've got all these things running around, an ability to kind of create an umbrella and get benefit from all of them is to say, well, this is just a multiverse. All these characters do exist inside our universe, and this is how they're all tied together. This concept exists in the comics. So you're tipping your hat nicely to the comic fans, and you give them something that they want. Everybody's a winner, right? That's kind of the theory. So, does this make sense? Sure. Well, why not? Is it a good way for the studios to kind of tie these pieces together in a way that coherently makes sense for audiences? I think so. A lot of people are making the comment that the average moviegoer will not understand the concept of the multiverse, but it's not that hard. I think here's where comic geeks and people are giving themselves way too much credit. This isn't like you're understanding some heavy physics concept. It's like there are multiple worlds with different versions of the characters. I don't think this is an impossible thing for people to figure out. But at any rate, it's an interesting, it's an interesting idea. It potentially helps them sew up some things. If you have some actors coming in or going out, it gives you a way to kind of bring them in or whatever they need to do. So I think that's it's smart. I think that makes a lot of sense that they're doing it this way. Is it a way to kind of reclaim this past that did make them a lot of money, and there's a lot of attention around, what they did before. So I think all signs of this are smart. On the other hand, I think that this could get messy pretty quickly if every film basically goes out and just says we're going to be loose in our continuity. You don't really need to plan, because if it's not tightly connected, it doesn't make sense when ultimately hits the air, or if it's not a financial success, then hey, different multiverse, no problem, just get it out of here. They could do that, but that's I think that would, like I said, that would get ugly pretty quickly. But overall, I think it would be on a nostalgia front, and like it or hate it, I think there's a lot of benefit to nostalgia right now in movies. Having Michael Keaton back and donning the Batman costume is certainly cool. I remember going to see that movie in the movie theater, and it's pretty exciting. really is kind of the second big movie. Be a big past Spider-Man, or sorry, not Spider-Man, Superman. At that point, DC really felt pretty powerful. You had Christopher Reeves, you had Michael Keaton, you had Jack Nicholson, you had Tim Burton doing his thing. I mean, you had a lot of Margot Kidder being Lois Lane. That's an era that is pretty fondly remembered by a lot of people. And so if they can tap into that and bring it back in, then that's pretty cool. How Keaton holds up is another story. Like I said, he's much older, but he did a perfectly fine Vulture, and he was menacing and all the rest. So all good. The funny part is, since Michael Keaton is appearing in Morbius, whenever that finally ultimately comes out, he could basically be in kind of two movies at the same time, which is interesting. This is, by the way, if Marvel ever picks up on this concept and does the same thing, this would be a very elegant way to explain a lot of what Sony's doing, and the X-Men and everything else. But Kevin Feige seems much more attached to the idea of making everything connect into one. So he's one of the people who's commented in the past that this multiverse concept is way too hard for people to understand. We'll see. Anyway, smart for DC to do. I think bringing everything in under one loose umbrella that they can claim makes sense. And I will see where it goes with it. But what about you? Are you excited to see Michael Keaton back as Batman? Is this something that would get you to go to the theater, even if you have to wear a mask while you're watching the film? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter or Facebook at Comic Perch. And thanks for listening.